In December 2002, Elizabeth La Paille watched her computer screen in disbelief as something unprecedented unfolded. Her family's tiny Northern California town, Bridgeville, was about to become the first town in history ever auctioned on eBay. The bidding had spiraled out of control. Within 48 hours, the listing received over 136,000 page views. News crews from Japan, Germany, and Australia descended on this forgotten hamlet of 30 people tucked into the redwood forests. The final bid? $1,777,877, more than twice the asking price. Elizabeth thought she was finally free from the nightmare. She wasn't. The high bidder got cold feet and backed out. Then another bidder backed out, and another. Over the next 2 years, a dozen deals would collapse. As potential buyers arrived in Bridgeville, saw the reality behind the eBay description, and fled. Those glamorous listing photos didn't show that Bridgeville was a disaster. Houses were barely habitable. Septic systems leaked everywhere. The water system constantly broke. Weeds grew waist-high through cracked foundations. This wasn't a charming mountain retreat, it was a money pit disguised as a town. The La Paille family had owned Bridgeville since 1973, when Elizabeth's parents bought it for $150,000. They'd inherited a former logging town that once thrived as a stagecoach stop between Eureka and San Francisco, but maintaining an entire town proved impossibly expensive. Roads needed repairs, buildings needed constant work, utilities required upgrading. It was like owning a cruise ship that could never leave port. In 1977, desperate for cash, the La Pailles sold Bridgeville to a Pentecostal group for $450,000. About 100 elderly parishioners pooled their life savings to create a religious community in the wilderness. They evicted existing tenants, banned alcohol and tobacco, and held prayer services that echoed through the valley. Then, just as suddenly, the minister disappeared in the middle of the night with all the money. The congregation couldn't make mortgage payments. The La Pailles foreclosed and got the town back like a curse they couldn't escape. By 2002, Elizabeth had had enough. She'd tried traditional real estate listings, advertised in the Wall Street Journal, even placed an ad in Soldier of Fortune magazine. Nothing worked. So in November 2002, she listed Bridgeville on eBay with a minimum bid of $775,000. The listing described it as a private retreat basking in the glory of the redwoods with 83 acres, 10 houses, 4 cabins, a post office, a cemetery, and its own zip code. The response was overwhelming. Bidding started at $5,000 and exploded from there. People couldn't resist the novelty of owning an entire town. Ideas ranged from corporate retreats to artists' colonies to brothels. The media loved it. By December 27, 2002, Bridgeville was international news. The winning bid of nearly $1.8 million seemed like a fairy tale ending, except the winner backed out after visiting. Buyers expected a charming mountain village. They found barely controlled decay. Finally, in May 2004, Bruce Kroll stepped in. An Orange County mortgage banker, Kroll paid $700,000 for the entire town. He dreamed of turning it into a mind-body health resort modeled on the famous Esalen Institute. But after buying Bridgeville, Kroll quickly realized something crucial. He and his family were perfectly happy in their comfortable home in Laguna Hills. The thought of actually moving to a remote, crumbling town 400 miles away suddenly seemed insane. He'd bought Bridgeville on impulse and immediately regretted it. In 2006, Kroll put Bridgeville back on eBay with a starting price of $1.75 million, hoping to nearly double his money. This time, a young man named Daniel La Paille emerged. as 25-year-old Daniel Thomas La Paille, a Los Angeles entertainment manager with big dreams. In August 2006, he paid $1.25 million for Bridgeville, telling everyone he would restore it to its former glory. And for a few magical months, it seemed like he might actually do it. Daniel arrived with work crews and enthusiasm. He started repairing houses and building a community park. He employed locals and attended school board meetings. The community liaison told reporters that Daniel had a truly philanthropic soul. For the first time in decades, Bridgeville felt like an actual community again. Hope returned to the forgotten hamlet. Then, on November 9, 2006, just 3 months after buying the town, Daniel La Paille shot himself in the chest at a friend's home in Los Angeles. He was 25 years old. According to the coroner's report, he'd been quite ill and deeply despondent. The news devastated Bridgeville's residents. The one person who'd actually seemed capable of saving the town was gone. His family tried to continue his work, but the emotional burden was too much. In June 2007, they listed Bridgeville for sale again at $1.3 million, desperate to be rid of the painful memories. Nobody bought it. The property sat on the market for years, the price gradually dropping. Various deals almost happened but fell through. The price dropped to $995,000, then lower. The La Paille family continued paying for minimal maintenance from 600 miles away, but the town slipped back into decline. It was as if Bridgeville itself was cursed. In 2013, an entrepreneur offered $900,000 but shocked county supervisors by announcing he wanted to start his own police force in Bridgeville. The sheriff's office refused. He walked away. More years passed, more potential buyers came and went. Today, Bridgeville remains in strange limbo. About 25 to 30 people still live there, mostly renters in dilapidated houses. The school and community center still function. The Van Dusen River still flows through town, beautiful and indifferent to human drama. The core 83 acres that made headlines worldwide seems permanently stuck in the La Paille family's reluctant ownership. Bridgeville's story is about the American tendency to believe we can buy our way into a better life, that the right property will transform us. It's about the dark space between fantasy and reality, between the glossy eBay listing and the weeds growing through rotting floorboards. The town that sold on eBay for nearly $1.8 million is worth a fraction of that now. Not because the land lost value, but because everyone finally understands what it really costs to own a dream. Bridgeville remains trapped in its own history, a ghost town that never quite died, owned by a family that never wanted it, and haunted by the memory of a young man who believed he could save it. Some things are for sale because nobody can afford to keep them. And just because you can click buy it now doesn't mean you should.